Hello everyone, I'm architect Prajakta Dalal Kulkarni from BNCS Department of Environmental Architecture and Planning, Pune, India. So today I will be sharing with you our efforts and initiatives to reduce carbon emissions in the campus, which will finally help us achieve carbon neutral status. If you know, India is the fourth largest emitter of GHG emissions, and it is also very vulnerable to the climate change, mainly because of the melting of Himalayan glaciers and changes in the monsoon patterns, etc. But India is committed to reduce its GHG emissions and has pledged that almost 30 to 35% reduction in the emission intensity of its economy by 2030. So all the sectors are participating and taking a lot of efforts to reduce their CO2 emissions, and education sector is not an exception to it. If you look at the technical institutes in India, then it is one of the important sector, an important sector from GHG emissions perspective also. Currently, there are nearly 11,000 institutes, technical institutes in India, and almost 3.8 million students are currently enrolled into these institutes. If we talk about Pune, where our college is located, then Pune University has 811 colleges, and it is second largest in the country, this university. So generating awareness among these students about GHG emissions and educating them on this particular thing will basically, it is expected to make them climate champion for the future. And educational institutes can do this easily by basically by floating various research projects related to these climate change topics, then incorporating various sustainability education curriculum, then various outreach programs, and mainly using campus as an example where student can actually see and learn through that. So with this background rather this with this background and the motivation, we started our efforts to achieve carbon neutrality in the campus. Let me just quickly give you our institute's background, so it will be easier to understand the overall project. So MKSS, that is Maharshi Karve Stri Shikshan Sanstha. It is 126-year-old parent body which is mainly committed to empowerment of women through education. And this was founded by great visionary and Bharat Ratna Maharshi Dhundo Keshav Karve, mainly to provide shelter to destitute women. But now our Sanstha has n number of branches all over Maharashtra, and more than almost 35,000 girl students are currently taking education in our Sanstha. So the institute offers right from kindergarten to schools to higher education, colleges, etc. This is the Google image of our campus. So I will be mainly talking about Pune campus, and it is 34 acres campus. It houses schools, colleges, hostels, etc. So almost 40 buildings are there. The campus follows 3R principle while using various resources. So we have 600 kilowatt power of solar system installed in the campus. The solar hot water system generates almost 3,000 liters of hot water daily. Biogas generation is mainly used for the canteen purposes, which reduces LPG consumption. While rainwater harvesting is mainly, it helps in reducing potable water usage, and this water is mainly reused for landscape purposes. All the waste generated in the landscape, so it is treated in campus and it is converted into manure and reused again. While all the paper waste is also reused, it is converted into bowls which are made out of paper, and these bowls are used for the canteen purpose. And the campus has, it's a green campus, it has almost 660 big trees, which basically acts like a carbon sink. So we try to achieve the highest possible standard of sustainability on the campus. And I am part of Dr. B.N. College of Architecture for Women. So it is one of the colleges under this Sanstha, under MKSSS. BNC offers wide range of options in the architecture education, right from bachelor's of architecture, masters to PhD center, and it has received Asia's Best Architecture Award uh, in 2014-15. So uh, I'm mainly part of the Department of Environmental Architecture and Planning, and which is mainly involved into various studies which are related to energy and environment. Since last few years, in collaboration with various departments in the campus, we are taking efforts to reduce carbon footprint at the campus level and also at the building level through various initiatives and day-to-day activities. So these are few examples for last few years, like 4 to 5 years, we are doing energy audit of almost all the buildings in the campus. Uh, because ours is mainly architecture college, so we are reusing all the paper waste. Students are making diaries out of it, and then these diaries are donated to needy people. Further, even activities like freshers party, send off party, etc. Even these activities are planned carbon neutral or low carbon. But to achieve carbon neutrality, we need to know impact of all these smaller activities and where we stand in terms of emissions and how much we need to reduce. So that's why since last 2 years we are calculating carbon footprint of the campus, and today I'll be sharing the same with you. These are the key steps to use. These are the mainly key steps to calculate the carbon footprint of the campus, like defining the mainly scopes 1, 2, or even up to 3. Then defining boundary conditions. Um, Once the boundary conditions are defined, then the data collection accordingly from the various departments, and finally calculating carbon emissions. And in all these things, uh, the mainly all these things are done with the students' involvement. So even they get to know or they get more knowledge about all these things. The guidelines used for this particular study are the GHG protocol, which are developed by Greenhouse Gas Initiative Protocol team. The study was conducted in two levels. One at the campus level, where we calculated scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. And the second is at building level, where we selected 3 buildings in the campus, and the emissions were calculated up to scope 3 level. So these building A, B, and C, they are mainly institutional buildings, having mix of academic facilities, workshops, libraries, recreational facilities, etc. The next step was collection of the data as per the various scopes selected. So for scope 1, mainly fuel consumption data was collected. For the scope 2, electricity data was collected. And for the scope 3, data related to travel, stationery, paper consumption, etc. was collected. The data related to energy consumption of online classes was also collected for last year. The activity data collected, which is described in earlier slides, it was multiplied by the appropriate GHG emission factors, which are mainly developed for India. So electricity was identified as the major hotspot at the campus level, which is emitting highest amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. In regular on-campus working condition, that is in the year 1920, the total amount of CO2 emissions were 2,091 tons of CO2 equivalent. While during online working mode due to pandemic situation, nearly 58% reduction was observed in these emissions. Considering regular working conditions, solar PV and trees contributed almost 38% reduction in these CO2 emissions. While in online working mode, this share was almost up to 78%. At the building level in year 1920, the transportation and electricity were identified as the main hotspot at the building level, which are emitting more CO2. While in 2021, emissions due to electricity used by students and faculty for online classes that were the highest, that those were the observed as the highest. And then also the reduction in scope 1 and scope 2 emissions was observed, but scope 3 was more. It was increased because of these online teaching learning modules. So based on the study, we are still in process of finalizing targets and strategies to make the campus carbon neutral. Again, we are not sure about the future conditions, future working conditions in the campus, mainly because of the pandemic situation, and secondly, due to new educational policy which is proposed by the government. So it might be having online plus offline kind of a hybrid mode of teaching. Maybe within next 1 or 2 years, the picture will be clearer. But this is for sure that if we work as per the 1920 conditions, like on campus kind of conditions, then we need to increase carbon sinks on the campus substantially. And we also need to implement strategies to reduce emissions, mainly because of the vehicles or transport related emissions. And again, if we continue with the online, then of course, scope 1 and scope 2 emissions, we really need to look at the carbon sinks. But apart from that, we also need to have some strategies where we can actually reduce emissions through this online teaching, because the emissions were little higher, observed that they were little higher. So, yeah, that is it. This was about our study. And I would like to thank organizers of this conference for giving us this opportunity to basically share our project and our efforts with you. So thank you so much.